The way I immerse myself in a character, especially one like Lily, is through their style. It's less about the physical traits and more about the essence of who they are. Lily was a fascinating character, and this process of getting into her mind was something that really drew me in. I remember the intense moment when I was sent to the basement with all my friends and family for over an hour. I wasn't allowed to be seen or even near Lily or the rest of the cast. They ushered us all down to the basement, where we were with the people who love me most. We all just started laughing at the ridiculousness of the situation, especially considering the women outside who were watching. It was almost absurd. In that moment, the famous quote I've often heard came to mind: "No matter what you do in life, never ever go full Amber Heard." I had this realization way before the public saga between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp began to unfold, but it felt oddly fitting at the time. The situation surrounding Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and the recent legal drama has sparked even more intrigue as the case continues to unravel. Last night, things took a dramatic turn when Justin Baldoni's team filed an amended complaint in a legal battle involving the three stars. This latest filing came packed with receipts, text messages, timelines, and fresh evidence that is shaking up everything we thought we knew. The amended complaint alleges a pattern of manipulation and reputation-damaging tactics that were supposedly orchestrated by Blake Lively and her team. It's not just about reactions. The complaint suggests that these efforts had been planned for months. If true, this dramatically shifts the narrative surrounding the situation. What's getting everyone talking are the text messages. These are real exchanges between Baldoni, Reynolds, and others involved, and they don't quite align with the version of events that some people have been promoting. According to these messages, Baldoni doesn't come across as a jealous, conniving person. In fact, his messages to Reynolds are incredibly polite and respectful. He directly tells Reynolds that he respects him and that he admires both him and Lively's family. Baldoni even jokes about feeling awkward in their interactions, expressing his nerves about being too formal. This doesn't fit the narrative of him being a hidden villain trying to scheme behind the scenes. Reynolds' response to Baldoni's messages was equally warm and professional. He thanks Baldoni for his respect, shares his admiration for him as a collaborator, and praises his character. Reynolds even opens up about the challenges of balancing work and family, something that he and Lively are known to be protective of. These exchanges between the two men are far from hostile. They are cordial, respectful, and even supportive. They both seem to understand the pressures of balancing their careers with family life, which is something that adds an element of relatability to their interactions. Where things get really interesting, though, is when the texts reveal how involved Reynolds was in discussions about scheduling. He suggested moving dates around to accommodate the needs of his family, making it clear that keeping his family together was a top priority for him. This would all seem like normal, routine behavior for a family man trying to make everything work, until later accusations start to surface, which complicate everything. It raises questions about why Reynolds, who had seemed like a supportive and involved collaborator, would later reportedly turn against Baldoni. In the amended complaint, Baldoni's legal team claims that Reynolds not only distanced himself from Baldoni, but allegedly went as far as calling Baldoni's agent and labeling him a deranged predator. If true, that's a serious accusation. It doesn't stop there either. The complaint also suggests that Reynolds spoke to senior executives at Baldoni's agency, advising them not to work with Baldoni anymore and going as far as to suggest that he wasn't safe to be around. These allegations are quite significant, and they raise questions about what caused this dramatic shift in Reynolds' stance. But the drama doesn't end there. According to reports, Blake Lively had already been raising complaints about Baldoni behind the scenes. The key issues? Lively reportedly had two major grievances against Baldoni, one of which was a sexy comment and the other a birthing video. These were allegedly the two biggest complaints that Lively had against Baldoni, and they eventually led her to file formal complaints with Sony. What's even more curious is that Lively allegedly pushed for the firing of two female assistant directors. This detail raises even more questions. Why would Lively want these individuals removed from the production? What role did they play, and why is this part of the story not being talked about more? There's also speculation, though it remains just that Reynolds' attitude shifted after he noticed how closely Baldoni and Lively were working together. Could jealousy have played a role in the escalation of the situation? As more details from the timeline emerge, it becomes clear that something significant seems to have shifted between the friendly messages from Reynolds to Baldoni and the subsequent claims that Baldonis' reputation was being intentionally damaged. The accusations against Baldoni appear to have escalated, and it's hard to ignore the possibility that there were deeper dynamics at play. One of the most explosive aspects of this whole case is the fact that these new text messages and pieces of evidence weren't just leaked to the public in some random online drop. Instead, Baldonis' legal team strategically filed them as part of an official exhibit in their amended complaint. This is a major move because it means that these messages and the context surrounding them are now part of the official court record. This adds a layer of legitimacy and weight to the evidence that will be considered in the ongoing legal battle. At the heart of the case is an accusation that Reynolds and Lively's team might have intentionally damaged Baldonis' reputation before the lawsuit even came to light. Insiders say that conversations have been happening for months between Hollywood executives, with whispers suggesting that Baldoni should be kept at arm's length. If this is true, it suggests that there was a concerted effort to prevent Baldoni from landing major projects, possibly because of the tension surrounding the situation with Lively and Reynolds. Why would they want to go so far as to derail Baldonis' career? Was it simply because of Lively's complaints, or was there something else at play? There's also a growing discussion around the control dynamics that appear to be at play. Looking at the text messages, you can see how Lively and Reynolds position themselves early on as key decision makers in the production. Lively's push for scheduling changes and Reynolds' insistence on keeping his family together both point to an effort to steer the production in a very specific direction. If things weren't going according to plan for them, it raises the question of whether there was a coordinated effort to undermine Baldonis' role in the project. Then there's Sony, which is reportedly caught in the middle of this mess. Sources close to the situation suggest that the studio was trying to balance the star power of Lively and Reynolds with the rest of the cast and crew. But at some point, it seems like a decision was made to back Lively's complaints. Was it because of her star power, or did they genuinely believe that Baldoni was in the wrong? That's still unclear, but it definitely raises questions about the motivations behind the studio's actions. The most significant point in all of this is the claim made in Baldonis' lawsuit against the New York Times. According to the lawsuit, the texts that have been published in relation to the Lively case have been seriously misrepresented. Baldonis' team argues that the messages were deliberately manipulated, with key facts being omitted that would have changed their meaning entirely. This is where the story starts to take on a new layer of complexity. If these texts are being misrepresented, what else are we not being told? What else is being left out of the narrative? And then, as we watch this legal battle unfold, there's the question of what's next. With these texts now out in the open, the scrutiny on Lively and Reynolds is only intensifying. Some people are already calling for more transparency from their side, while others argue that the whole situation is just a misunderstanding that's been blown out of proportion. What we do know is that more documents are still waiting to be revealed, and that's bound to make this case even messier. This is only the beginning, and with more than 200 pages of documents still being analyzed, it's impossible to predict where this story will go next. One thing is for certain, the world is watching as this legal drama unfolds, and the twists and turns are far from over. With more evidence set to be revealed, the public is waiting for answers. And as each new detail comes to light, it's clear that the story surrounding Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Justin Baldoni is just getting started. The coming days will surely bring even more shocking revelations, and it's anyone's guess what the next chapter will hold. Stay tuned, because there's a lot more to come.